Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back for some Selaco. So, this game's been making the rounds, and I thought I would go ahead and take a look at it. Now, there's been a lot of boomer shooters over the years, and I gotta tell you, some are good, some are just kind of crap. This one has really impressed me, and I'm not easily impressed, I can tell you that. So, Selaco here is running the GZ Doom engine, which a number of games have started to run, which is pretty interesting. It's amazing to think that a engine that was made to run Doom is actually being used to run paid games. It's pretty neat, to say the least. And I'm very happy to see that games running this engine are actually starting to get really popular. So, what this is an early 2000s style game running a 90s-ish engine. And it is hot as hell, to say the least. Oh my good God, is the summer here. I think, as my grandfather once said, we've seen the last of the snows, let's put it that way. Like, it's just death out there. Like, you spend any time at all outside, and you just are drained of all energy. It's just terrible. And it's only June. It's just gonna get worse as time goes along. It's one of those things, though. It's a Texas summer. I mean, like, I'm so glad that air conditioning was invented. Originally, air conditioning was invented to, like, cool vacuums or something. I can't remember exactly why it was invented, but it was something kind of mundane like that. Nobody really thought to use it to, like, stay cool until later. My grandmother actually had an air conditioner back in, like, the 50s. And that was a very rare thing, to say the least. And boom! Okay, hold on a second. 1 second. Now what? Oh, that's why it's doing that. Ugh. Okay. Had a little bit of audio issues there. The headphones were like half in, half out of the jack. I was like, why do I have mono sound now? Oh, here comes the soundtrack. So, what we got here is you play as a female character who actually is a female. I know, it's a very strange concept in the space future of 2024. And I'm not really sure as to the plot. I've only played this game for a little bit, only got about an hour and a half into this. This is definitely not a game with a lot of cutscenes, or any that I've found. And it doesn't like to explain, like, who you're fighting or anything, but it's not done because there's no plot. It's done because you kind of have to figure it out on your own. Basically, your character, whose name I can't remember at the moment, she's in the hospital, and the hospital gets attacked by armed militants, and you gotta fight your way out. She's like a captain. Selaco actually refers to a planet. You're on the planet Selaco. Earth, it's either destroyed or they can't communicate with it. You actually pick up data logs, believe it or not, and they will explain a little bit of the backstory. This is your typical, you know, like, kind of cyberpunk plot, where, like, a bunch of evil corporations do their evilness. And we're gonna walk up, and we're gonna smash him in the face. I love these sprites. They look really good. Like, I'm really impressed by the sprite work on this game. And they actually move around pretty good. They've got legitimate tactics that they use. And hello, Neji. Today was alright. Had to assemble a grill. And that went pretty well. That's about it, really. Great Lake Legion, cool and wet. 14 degrees Celsius. I presume that's not bad. I only use freedom units. What's that in American, as Deadpool is known to say. I know 14 is actually not that bad. I actually talked to somebody who uses that. Okay, what the hell is her name? I can't remember. And yes, you have a data pad. Okay, what is your name, girl? And her name is Dawn Collins. And she has depression and anxiety. I could make a horrible joke about that, but won't. Oh, why not? It's like all females, right? But depression and anxiety aside. Okay, where is... Nope, that's not it. Did I not pick it up yet? You would think I remember the code. I've actually already played this part of the level several times. 57 degrees. Not bad, not bad. Okay, it's in Pathfinder Memorial. Okay. 1432. I'm just gonna use the mouse. Actually, no, I'm not gonna use the mouse because it won't show up. Gonna play the new Indiana Jones game? I don't know. I mean, how woke is that game gonna be? This right here is a little indie game, so they can't woke it up too much. So I'm just saying, like, considering what's already happened to poor Indiana Jones, like, how much worse is that gonna be? So probably not, unless it's like Jedi Fallen Order, which is a game I still need to play at some point. Because Jedi Fallen Order looks pretty good, as does Jedi Survivor, but just have not gotten around to it. Too many games, too little time. But yeah, it's gonna be super hot for the next ever here. And of course, I've got a shit ton of stuff I have to do outside. I'm just glad that I've got air conditioning. For a period of about 7 years, my car did not... Well, actually, I had a car that didn't even have air conditioning. And yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. Like, imagine, you know, it's 90 degrees freedom units with horrible humidity, and you're in a car, and there's cars all around you, adding their heat out there, and the heat coming off the goddamn asphalt. It was not fun. Like trying to going out to eat was like a epic journey across the desert of death. Okay, and we of course have our obligatory slide move, which works. Now the overall performance of the game is not too bad. There are a few frame drops here and there. This game is a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, though. Also, we can drink purple stuff. You gotta love that grape soda. But it's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Like, the enemies are legitimately a challenge, and we're only playing this on normal. Like, this game can be as hard as you want it to be. I think this is definitely going to appeal to the more hardcore kind of gamer. And there's a bunch of different kinds of enemies. That's one of the things. Getting a boomer shooter right is not an easy prospect. Yeah, I just kind of joined the whole boomer shooter cavalcade. Like, that's such an easy term to use. I'm just going to use it. What can I say? I've been corrupted by today's youth. But, yeah, getting a boomer shooter right is not an easy thing, just because oftentimes a boomer shooter will be boring, because they'll have, like, one enemy type, or the levels will be kind of monotonous. Like, Proteus is kind of like a boomer shooter-ish kind of thing, based on Doom 2016, but my god was that game boring. Anytime, you start up a shooter and they don't give you a gun within the first 5 seconds, it's gotta be real good for me to want to continue playing. And Proteus did not do that. Yeah, Selaco is fairly new. I think it came out just maybe a couple months ago. Oh, crap. Okay, let's just hit the old F6 key. Oh yeah, they won't let you save if, like, you're in imminent danger of death, because they don't want you to get stuck in a save loop, I guess. Okay, let's be sure to quick save. Yeah, for me, since I'm not a hardcore gamer and I'm trying to pay attention to, like, everything else, I'm gonna be at 35 health pretty much the entire game, because this game is tough. Like, legitimately tough. Now, this is still in early access. One of the few good uses of early access. Like, for the longest time, early access was just used for asset flips. I think that's gone away, though. Yeah, today I got the top 13 FPSs of the 2010s finished. It's kind of interesting to consider how many good games came out in the 2010s. I thought there was quite a bit less than I came up with. Now, it's mainly in the early 2010s. Sadly, the first-person shooters of the 2020s is primarily just going to be games like this. If I'm charitable, I might add Doom Eternal to that, but so far there just haven't been that many good games in the 2020s. Now, as for the 2010s, Terminator Resistance does not count as a first-person shooter because it is primarily an RPG sort of thing. It's got RPG elements, technically not a first-person shooter in my book. I'm getting shot in the back, I think. Well, that's a really accurate shotgun. Time. Mr. Knox, you got me killed. How could you? The idea is you'd want the tax money just to go within your own country, which makes sense. the idea of having like a spending a lot of money on foreign aid sounds great in theory, but in practice, if people in the U.S. are like suffering economically, why should we try to help alleviate people in other countries suffer less? You know, it's like, why should we care about them more than ourselves? That's the idea, at least. The whole Ukrainian conflict is one of those things that my opinion on that is unformed at the moment. The problem with foreign policy is it's hard to say what's true and what's not, because there's so many different factions with different information and things of that nature. It's hard to say which is the best option or not. Because on the one hand, you hear that Mother Russia has like no weapons and is horribly led and can't do anything. On the other hand, it's like they're the great Satan. It's like, which one is it? It's kind of like if you study World War II, it's like either the Germans were the greatest army ever or the worst. It's like, okay, which one is it exactly, you know? And it basically depends on who's saying it and what they want to say it for. So, when it comes to people in the more conservative space, I guess you could say, they want the money spent within their own country, which makes a good degree of sense, I'm just saying. I mean, why spend billions on another country when you could spend those billions in your own country? And foreign policy is such a difficult thing. It's like, it's hard, it's not something you really see in the short term. 90 Terminator game also be considered a first-person shooter? Maybe, but I've never played that 1990 Terminator game just because I think it's going to be more complex than I usually like to play. That representation. Yeah, it would be nice to know what the tax dollars are being spent on, that's for sure. The thing about Russia is, depending on what you listen to, it's like either that country is like super powerful or it's going to collapse due to lack of population in like a year or something. It's like, okay, well, which is it? Which is it, people? Make up your mind, get your story straight, figure something out, you know. For me, I just kind of keep an open mind about these things because it seems to change all the bloody time. Yeah, those the Bethesda-developed Terminator games. Those sound great in theory, but in practice, they look like they're really going to be quite annoying to play. Yeah, that's the sad part about politics these days. Every single side, I guess you could say, is fractionalized into like little splinter groups here and there, each representing something else. Also, you can eat pizza in this game. I had pizza just today. Although it didn't have any of that green shit on it. I actually find myself eating a lot more just basic, you know, cheese-only pizza. It's like all the toppings are great, but I find just having it plain has been a bit better. The Sam's pizzas are pretty kick-ass. And cheap. Yeah, speaking of, like, crazy politics, there's this new thing coming out where, like, there's some idiots that want to repeal, like, the 20th Amendment. That's, like, the right for females to vote. I'm not really sure why they want to do that. It's one of those things where, like, there's, like, 18 different reasons. You ask like 5 different people and you have 5 different reasons. But that just seems kind of out of nowhere. One wonders if that's a psyop in and of itself. Dominoes, not bad. Black olives, onions, and green peppers. Yeah, I never was into all that vegetables on a pizza. Also, I love how this is called Exxon. It's Exxon Mobil. It's a real-life dystopian corporation. And this game works really well with the controller. Quite remarkably well, I should say. Like, they know what their audience is. And they do want that sweet console money. Now, this game also, in addition to being a good shooter, has a lot of puzzles. And we're going to get to a puzzle before too long. But look at how much damage these guys do. And they actually can hit you. I was really surprised. Because when I first started the game, I was expecting, you know, kind of the usual boomer shooter thing of, like, the enemies would kind of waddle around. God damn it. Dr. Pepper ribs in the slow cooker. Not bad. Oh, 19th Amendment. I don't remember. It's one of those amendments. But yeah, the whole idea that that's honestly seems a bit like a psyop almost. But I wouldn't be surprised if people would be that dumb. It's like, yeah, we want to actually reduce rights versus expanding them. But whatever. I think one of those idiots was like, well, since women don't have to register for the draft, they shouldn't be able to vote. It's like, that's oddly reaching there, just saying. And besides, what about the whole, well, no taxation without representation? I mean, females are still taxed in the same way that males are, so, yeah. Oops. I don't know, man. These red pill types, they're kind of weird. And that's a fairly recent development too. It's kind of interesting to look at like politics today versus like, say, 2016. Things have taken a turn for the stupid, and it's just gonna get worse. Yeah, alcohol prohibition. That was a major brain trust, that's for sure. So yeah, we're gonna ban alcohol. And it's like nobody would ever, you know, like, get rich. Roaring 20s all over again. Yep. Well, that's the thing. Do you want to vote for Orange Man, or do you want to vote for, a grandfatherly individual who probably needs to have another pudding cup? And I accidentally almost blew myself up because I was trying to heal, and I have no health kits. I'm gonna blame the chat again, just because. What are you gonna do? Stop watching? Don't stop watching. Oh yeah, you can also like unlock storage cabinets with like special cabinet cards, but I never found any of them. Like I was looking around for them, and yeah, this is definitely a game if you like to search everywhere for something. This is definitely for you. It seems a little complicated for what we're doing. Okay, now what we want to do, I think there's like a secret down here. One of the easier ones. Yeah, the anti-Sajubs, I remember back in like, well, 2016, they made some degree of sense. But then, they like that money, that's the thing. And I can't really fault them for liking money. But all the videos that those people put out, I would never watch them today just because you should look at how horrible those thumbnails are. It's like, they want you dead. It's like, and it's kind of find out it's one person on Twitter said something crazy. It's like, yes, but how many people even use Twitter at this point? It's a website I have not used in ages. Mainly because I don't have 128 characters worth of things to say randomly. And I do know that people live on that website for some reason, but not me. And yeah, exactly, Silver Wings. It's like, but I can see why that people would have a hard time making that choice, because it was an all-pervasive amount of propaganda that Orange Man bad, when in fact Orange Man, while not perfect, was not quite what people said he was. Although I have to point out that under Orange Man, there was that bump stock ban, which recently got struck down, thankfully. And bump stocks weren't even that useful. They're more just a toy than anything else. And they didn't simulate full automatic fire. I cannot tell you how many times I had to explain that literally all a bump stock did was just bump your trigger finger into the trigger. That's it. That's all it does. If you ever wondered what a bump stock did, that's literally what it does. It bumps your trigger finger into the trigger. That's it. People don't really recognize that. If anything, a binary trigger is more simulating of full auto fire, because how a binary trigger works is literally what it sounds like. You pull the trigger and then you let off the trigger, and when you let off the trigger, the rifle or whatever fires again, you know. So yeah, but a bump stock, it just bumps your finger into the trigger. I mean, literally anything could be a bump stock, I guess you could say. Like you could tie a rubber band on it and it'd be like a bump stock, you know. It's like, it's not this magical talisman that somehow magically turns a gun into something else. And I mean, like, then you have people who can legitimately pull the trigger faster than full auto, like Jerry Mikulek. He's a professional shooter, and he can literally pull a trigger faster than full auto. He's a genetic mutant. It's a strange mutation, but whatever. Okay, I think I see some shield guys. Whoever invented the ballistic shield is a bastard, and I have no grenades. And yes, they can grenade spam as well. But right now, most people in the US are going to be worried about inflation, which is a legitimate issue. Inflation's not quite as bad as it was back around 2013 or 14. I remember gas back then was somewhere around $3.75 a gallon. At least it was in Texas, which Texas usually has pretty good gas prices, but it was that expensive. I was spending like $70 a week on gas. Turok game is possibly in the works by Saber Interactive. I did not know that existed, but I guess that's kind of neat. But once again, these days, I'm very skeptical of any new game, just with all the craziness going on. So yeah, people are very worried about inflation. Not too many people are really worried about foreign policy stuff, because that's something that happens thousands and thousands of miles away, and the average person that's not politically tuned in just doesn't care. But if, you know, they go to the store and they end up spending $300 a week on groceries, yeah, then they're going to have problems. And if the president... Really, I'm not even sure how much Bidet has to do with that, but the reality is, you know, currently this administration is not helping things. And then, of course, you have something that happened recently where where Saudi Arabia no longer is going to have the petrodollar, where oil is no longer going to be produced in US dollars. That's a problem, provided you're American. I guess if you're from another country, you might not care. I actually have a number of people who live in other countries like, yeah, the gas went down. It's like, uh-oh. So yeah, there's all kinds of crap like that. It's all very abstract, though. If you're tuned into politics, then you'll kind of know what's going on, but for the average person, it's groceries are expensive, and people are shooting me. I told you this game was difficult. Really, when it comes to boomer shooters, it has to be either at or better than something like Brutal Doom, and this is better than Brutal Doom to a certain extent. Oh yeah, Terminator Zero. I've not heard about that Terminator game, but I have heard of Terminator Zero. I was listening to a video on that just before I started the stream. Terminator Zero sounds kind of interesting. I love how anime always has to be set in Japan, though. It's like they always have to contrive some way for it to happen in Japan. It's kind of like the X-Men anime, where like the X-Men have to fly to Japan. You know, I mean, the patients here, they're not going to need this anymore. Why let it go to waste? I think nobody's going to want to ask Dawn here what her weight is, especially when she's pounded down that much cake. Oh, give me the bullets. I don't want the chair. I have a chair a lot like that, though. But yeah, Terminator Zero looks pretty good. I mean, well, it sounds pretty good. Terminator in Japan, I mean, they don't have no guns in that country. They do have some, though. Like, I think you can get like a 22, but that's not exactly gonna take down a Terminator, I don't think. It's very unlikely. The thing about Terminator is it's a franchise that is too focused on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, there can be more Terminators than that. So, we'll see if it's any good. It is a Netflix anime, so you never know. It might have some, shall we say, poor writing, but yeah, we'll see. Dawn or Dawn? D-A-W-N. Who's the equivalent? Well, I mean, a 12 gauge, we saw that in Terminator 1, a 12 gauge knocked down a Terminator, so I guess if you gave him both barrels, maybe that might help. It's one, I've actually talked to some people from overseas who like guns, and apparently you can get some guns in some countries. But it's usually never anything like, say, an AR or an AK or something. Although, weirdly enough, some countries can get that, and it's usually not the ones you'd expect. Because I think, like in Germany, you can actually get a full auto. You have to have like 18 different licenses, but you can get it. You can get a reproduction MP40 there, which you can't do here. I mean, you kind of can, but it has to be converted to closed bolt, which is bullshit, but whatever. Like, why even bother if you can't have open bolt? Let me see, how do you spell this person's name? Because you have a data log here. And you get it for all the different... You can pick up a bunch of data here from data pads and stuff like that that explain the world. Yeah, this is Dawn Collins. She has depression and anxiety, which is to be expected. She was in the hospital for a sprained hamstring and quadricep. So, yeah, she broke her leg or something. And that's why she was here when everybody decided to start attacking. So, for those who came late, Selaco here is the name of the planet. Earth apparently got destroyed, and now everybody's living on this colony world. It's a bit of a cyberpunk dystopia, and now we're being attacked by random militants. They don't really explain who these random militants are, but there's a conspiracy going on. You know, your typical video game kind of stuff. It's not bad. And there's all kinds of, like, data pads you can pick up that flesh out the world a bit. This game is much more complicated than it looks, though. Like, there's even little save rooms and stuff. There's weapon upgrades. This kind of Metroidvania sort of thing. Could be gone. Directors keep leaving. Also, the main actor as well. Oh, dear. I'd heard about that apparently they wanted Blade to be a female or something. And it is the MCU after all. That's the thing. That's the problem. People are focused too much on politics and not enough on, well, everything else. That's the weird thing. When you start up in the year 2014, 10 years ago, politics still existed. But most normal people that weren't politically tuned in either didn't care or it wasn't the cornerstone of their personality. Now it's very, very different. Still, though, you're going to find a lot of people aren't really tuned in or don't really care either. But in sort of like the gaming space, there's a lot more of that. And certainly a lot of these developers are very much political. A lot of these writers are very much political. I mean, there was a time, though, when, like, writers didn't even care about politics. I don't even know what the politics of, like, say, Timothy Zahn is, and I didn't need to know. I don't care. Just write Star Wars. Yeah, I saw that Night Dive Studios is remastering The Thing. One day I will review that. The big problem with The Thing is I feel like the perfect review of it's already been done by the YouTuber The Spoony One. Now, where the hell am I? Okay, what are we trying to do? Okay, I think that's the only problem with this game is that it is pretty complicated and it doesn't explain anything about what you're supposed to do most of the time. It's not as bad as some I've played. Find a way to disengage the lockdown. Okay. Now, where am I? I've already played this part of the game, but trying to remember exactly where to go. Okay, is it in here, maybe? No, but I think I know where that is. I think we gotta go back all the way to where those stairs were. Lever action shotgun. Oh, the one made by Cimarron. Those things are pretty pricey, but they're worth it. Lever action shotgun is not a bad design, but they had to really Rube Goldberg it to make it work. And so it can be a little complicated to get it, like, running 100%. But still neat. Fuse box count. There's fuse boxes in this game you gotta shoot. But I'll give The Thing a try. I'll definitely stream it when it comes out. I might review it. We'll have to see. Actually, let me grab the space bucks here. You can use the space bucks to buy health. Or you can buy Arachnicola, or you can smash it. No, you can't smash it. How dare we try to vandalize it? Darkness 1 getting a remaster is pretty good because you either have to have an original copy or try to emulate it. I have emulated Darkness on the PC with the Xania emulator, and it runs all right, but it doesn't run that great. Okay, I did not mean to go here, but I mean, I guess getting more space bucks is not a bad thing. Yeah, the 1887 was made because Winchester, we make lever guns, make a lever shotgun, but sir, a pump gun would be far better. It's like, make lever shotgun? It's one of those guns that would probably have been forgotten, but for Arnold Schwarzenegger's use of that in T2. I mean, I would buy one myself if I had the extra DOS, just because of that movie alone, but yeah. When it comes to at least the 1887 works. I think if I was going to buy an expensive old shotgun, I'd probably buy one of those Spencers. Because Spencer, the guy behind the Spencer carbine, made the first practical pump-action shotgun before Browning did. But he was not a very good businessman, and ultimately he got really overshadowed by Winchester. And yeah, that is the problem with anything on the right these days, is it's very much sensationalism. It's like, I want to point out once again, like, you've got these YouTubers like Yellow Flash, they want you dead, they attack this, or they attack, oh god, and it's always the same bullshit. Right now, the 2A community is winning. I mean, oh crap, no! I keep using the wrong control, I keep thinking it's B to crouch. Cimarron is the best made one. Oh yeah, all those cheap Chinese shotguns do seem to be gone. I wanted to get one of those 1897 clones, but they're more expensive than the originals, because of course they are. Let me see here. Canadian-made Cooey Model 39, single shot 22. I mean, hey, you know, a single shot 22 ain't bad. I mean, that's how I started shooting. I got an old Marlin Glenfield Model 30 or something. They certainly don't make those like they used to. It's got a really nice stock with a carving of a groundhog. No, not a groundhog. A prairie dog, I believe. Let's see here. Could Doom and 1 and 2 be remade? Maybe. There's a number of remake mods, but and arguably Doom 2016 and Eternal are remakes of a sort. But it's one of those things of, why would you, when you can basically just use mods to make the originals have better graphics and things of that nature? Like, there's a voxel mod that's pretty nice. Let's see, 1 second. Auto 5. Rinko, 1897 in Canada. That's the one problem with Canada. Like, isn't everything, like, restricted now, though? So can you even get a shotgun there? Thanks to, Trudeau. Yeah, what's the difference? One wears a nice hat, the other one doesn't. That's the one thing, like, Norinco, I'd love it if we could get those in the US, because they have a Colt Woodsman clone that I'd like to buy. Or at least they did at one time. Because I wouldn't mind paying, like, you know, $250 for a cheap Chinese Colt Woodsman when the originals are like $800 or $900, and I refuse to pay $800 or $900 for a .22 pistol. I don't care how cool it is. But yeah, news is always like, you're supposed to be excited and entertained, but also stressed out a little bit, so you'll keep watching. That's why if you look at, like, a lot of those pro-gun channels, they're always going nuts. They always have that picture of, like, the dark Biden meme. Oh, crap. We need to have common sense auto turret controls. They're just too dangerous. But, yeah, and then there's, like, all those commentary channels. I find every single commentary channel to just be annoying. Like, they have to justify their existence somehow, but it's all the same crap over and over again. I wouldn't call this a Duke Nukem knockoff. This is very different from a build engine game. Now, you might be thinking of Bombshell, which was a Duke Nukem inspired game where you play as a female protagonist, but I would say this is head and shoulders above Bombshell. And Bombshell wasn't even that bad of a game. No, it's not Bombshell, it's Ion Fury. No, Ion Maiden. Something like that. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. But this is definitely not a build engine game at all. It's the problem with, like, build engine games. Usually they're just not that amazing. I mean, Duke Nukem was great, Shadow Warrior is great, and Blood was great. But outside of them... Let's see, where was I? A lot of the Modern Entertainment are the ones contributing to the problem. Yeah. And how many times can you talk about garbage Disney stuff, you know? Guns and gadgets guy. Yep. I know exactly who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. That used to show up in my feed all the time. See, that guy knows how to like really manipulate the algorithm, because what he'll do is he'll always have some kind of scary thing and you're like, oh no, what happened? And you'll want to click on it and it's like somebody said something somewhere but nothing has actually happened. There it is. Here we go. Okay, we got the blue key. Now we just gotta find the blue door. Yeah, this is way better than that Ion Maiden Fury game. I mean, that's why people like Yellow Flash and other things have to do that. That way, if you've never heard of them before, you'll see that and it'll scare you into wanting to click on it to see what really happened. Or like, Kathleen Kennedy is out. It's like, no, she's never leaving. She won't let you leave. I don't think a hospital bed would be bulletproof, but I'm glad it is. It's not bulletproof. I did not know that was destructible. That's pretty sweet. Oh crap, no! Heal! Goddamn grenade! Oh crap, I am so screwed. Nope, somehow I killed him. Okay, that guy's got a shield up. I'm just gonna keep blaming the chat. I'm gonna blame Yellow Flash, because I can. Sadly, that Arc Warhammer guy has also become a bit of a sensationalist too. This is kind of annoying. Iron Fury worth getting? Ion Fury is the definition of the word meh. I was pretty excited when it came out. I even did a video on it where I was like singing its praises. However, in the last, what is it, 5 years since it came out, I haven't played it. So, if it's on sale for like $2, go for it. It's certainly not a bad game, but it didn't really impress me that much. Not nearly as much as Selaco here, although I will say that I don't think I'd ever really come back to Selaco once I beat it. Just because it's a little too complicated for what it is. If you're in charge of Lucasfilm, what changes would I make? Oh, dearie me. First and foremost, I would immediately cancel every single Star Wars series in production. And then what I would do is I would start with a television show called Rogue Squadron and have it follow the Rogue Squadron novel series. And then we'd like transition into the Thrawn trilogy movies. I would follow the EU entirely. Now, if nobody liked Rogue Squadron, I would abandon that era of Star Wars entirely for a little while and instead focus on Darth Bane. Ooh, that's a better idea now that I think of it. Yeah, do like a Darth Bane movie, like try to get some of that Joker thunder. Because people really like Joker. They really enjoyed the villain's perspective, so you could do that. Just have a Darth Bane movie. Start where he's like just a nobody, and goes from nobody to monster. It'd blow people's minds. It wouldn't have any Skywalkers or anything. Phantom Fury was so disappointing. Yeah, I haven't even bothered playing that. I kind of feel bad about new 3D Realms. They've got some good ideas, but sadly the games just aren't that amazing. It's like they're just not that good. Like they should be, but they're kind of boring. And the final battle for Ion Fury is kind of boring too. It is worse with the clickbait. Oh yeah, that armed scholar. Yep, I remember him. That same picture of Bidet. Nice Old Republic movie. Yep, that would be for the best. Get it to the Old Republic. Because it'll be a whole new era. But follow the goddamn EU. It's like, just adapt that. And people would eat it up. People already did eat it up. You turn that into a movie, people would go nuts. It's kind of like if you were going to make a 40K movie, all you got to do is just adapt the Eisenhorn novels. I'm rereading those right now. And those could be movies Easy. You get Henry Cavill as Eisenhorn, people would watch that. Because Eisenhorn is a 40K book series. It stars a guy named Eisenhorn. He's got like different conspiracies he's got to solve. There's a lot of really cool villains, including a demon host that wants to corrupt Eisenhorn, and I don't want to spoil what he does. And it would be great. There's space battles, there's sword fights, there's even a lightsaber fight at one point, but they're called power swords because they don't want to get sued. And people would eat that up. It's not grimdark, but it still is pretty dark. I think Dawn here is going to need to check her clothing size at this point. I'm just saying, I keep making her eat all the unhealthy foods. Let's see. Mode for Ion Fury. I did not even know it was a mirror mode. I haven't played it in like 5 years, so I guess they updated it or something. But yeah, one thing that's always kind of funny when it comes to... Oh no, it's Spike Spiegel. That show is almost 30 years old now. But anyway, Stephen Blunt must be getting old now. But, let's see, where was I? Yeah, The Acolyte. I know that there's going to be a lot of people eating good for that show. I'm sure Midnight's Edge is made like, oh, goddammit, not again! There we go. Okay, I guess I can't pick that up. Making B the grenade button is not a bad idea, but I keep almost blowing myself up. I don't think you can. Now I'm curious, I never tried. Nope. Unless she just projectile fired something there, which would be kind of nasty, just saying. I can hear something moving around up there. That actually is pretty good sound design. I mean, let's face it, you know, like, Dawn here is... Yeah, she's more refined than Duke Nukem, maybe. Now, we could definitely use another Duke Nukem game, but I don't trust any current developer to actually make one. But yeah, Friday night... I've seen Friday Night Tights. I could not sit through a live stream like that, though, to be perfectly honest. Make a good backdrop for a video game. Can't you change the keys? Yeah, I could, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Half the time, I just get used to whatever controller, whatever layout it is without actually messing with it. Don't watch The Acolyte. Did I see the 2005 Doom movie? I even did a review of that many years ago, probably 10 years ago now, but sadly YouTube gave me a copyright strike on that, and I had to take it down, which is kind of sad, and then I ended up losing the original copy. Long story short, I filmed a little skit at the end of the video where I shoot the Doom movie disc with a pellet gun. Why a pellet gun, you might ask? Because I wasn't going to take it to a gun range and say, like, can I shoot this disc for a video? And so I just set up the disc in the garage and shot it with the pellet gun. It wasn't that... I don't know if it was funny or if it was kind of cringy because, well, it's a pellet gun. All I did was put a little hole in it. Needless to say, I didn't like it. Kind of... Oh, he's a Natsock. Oh yeah, side-scrollers. That's where they got the Stuttering Craig guy. Saw Doom in theaters? My god. You're made of sterner stuff than I am. I'm actually not even using a keyboard and mouse with this. I'm actually using a new controller that I picked up. This is a Xbox One clone. Got it for like 30 bucks off of Amazon. Sadly, my old Xbox 360 controller died. Been using that thing since 2012. They made him to last. Okay, what the hell is the blue door? This is already better than Ion Fury just because this isn't so cheap. Okay, we're trying to find the blue door. Now I've already been able to beat this already. So okay, hold on. All right, let's see. We gotta find the exit. Oh, I know where we need to go. Now we just gotta find that place, because we're gonna get to the first boss of the game, which is remarkably easy to beat. TV show. Definite end. You know, like, you don't necessarily need a definite end. Like, with Star Wars, you had a whole galaxy of opportunities, and that's why the EU did so well. But, yeah, sometimes franchises do just need to end. You don't really need to make a 50-movie series on, like, The Hunger Games, or Maze Runner, or, oh, what was that other one? I can't remember what it's called now. There's so many things that, like, there's 10 different movies, and I didn't care in the first place. Taught at a drive-in. Nice. Where was that? Yeah, Ark was is one of those guys that he definitely is very generic to me, because like he was talking about how like Star Wars used to not even be considered good. In fact, if you admitted to watching it, you would get beaten up at school. I'm like, what school did you go to? It's like that's kind of the question. Like, what school did this guy go to? And why was it filled with psychopaths? I think he's like Norwegian or something. I thought people in Norway were supposed to be mostly sane. Mostly, I thought. But like, people have always loved Star Wars. How do you think it got so popular in the first place? That's one of those things where... Okay, let's save. There is my shotgun. It's like, how did Star Wars or Star Trek or any of this stuff ever get popular if everybody hated it? I'm just saying. One of the things about sci-fi from the older days is, yeah, it wasn't quite as popular as it is today, but most people knew who Batman was, even if they didn't read the comics. Boom! Give me all your weapon parts. Not that it's really that great, but whatever. A male and female symbol. Yep. All 6 Star Wars movies on DVD from a game store. Yeah, the original trilogy is always going to be in 4:3. Unless you get like the the DVDs with the original unaltered trilogy are actually Laserdisc transfers, but the despecialized edition does exist. Hey, look at that. That's a female, ladies and gentlemen. You know, with boobs and other bits, and not like partially a male. You know, it's like, can we not have that? Oh, ugh. Let's see here. Same way with the Terminator, just one movie was enough. You know, I can actually agree with that. Like, Terminator, that really is very much a one-and-done sort of thing. See, like, Star Trek, you can have, once again, a galaxy of opportunity, because it's a whole galaxy with a whole star fleet and stuff like that, you know? With Star Wars, you could have had a sequel trilogy where they try to establish the New Republic. You could have had a sequel to that with the Yuuzhan Vong War. You could have a sequel to that with what happens to, you know, Han, Luke, and Leia, and what happened to their kids. You can keep it going. Because, like, in the real world, you know, what you have is life doesn't end just because the story's over, I guess you could say. Let's shoot that little thing. I don't think that would work quite like that in real life, but hey, I'm not going to complain. Oh, this is where we have to fight the stupid spider bots. Which are kind of annoying, but whatever. It's a space laptop. UDB. I can only imagine how much hentai is on there. Let's see. Yeah, Terminator, I really quite liked, even though everybody else hated it. I really quite liked that Terminator Genesis. I thought that was pretty good. I didn't think it was that terrible. No, Han Solo should not have died. He's one of the coolest characters ever. Just because I know that Harrison Ford didn't like Han Solo. He was much more of a fan of Indiana Jones. But, like, Han Solo had a lot of staying power, especially in the books. The idea that you have this rogue who reforms. He was a good counterpoint to the much loftier Luke Skywalker. He was the human face of Star Wars. I think without Han Solo, you don't have Star Wars, essentially. You'd have... Without Han Solo, you don't have the broad appeal that Star Wars does. Because if you just have Luke, it's going to be very... It's just going to be very kind of, for want of a better word, kind of nerdy, I guess you could say. Because, like, Luke is this lofty, aloof Jedi Master. He's not really, especially when you get to the books, but, like, he's not, like, just a regular, everyday guy, whereas Han kind of is. There's a line from Empire Strikes Back that I think is hilarious, and what really makes that movie believable is, like, Han and Leia are heading into the asteroid field, right? And the Millennium Falcon starts getting hit with asteroids. And Han just completely casually says, "That wasn't a laser blast, something hit us." That's like something a normal person living in that universe would say. And so it feels believable. It feels like you don't have to suspend your disbelief. It's just like, oh yeah, it's an asteroid, whatever. Whereas, you know, if Luke was there, it's like, asteroids, what do we do now? Han just brought that human element to it. Halo's one engine was used for retro shooters. I'd like to see that. Responded to bring back Legends movement by basically telling them to give up. Ugh. Well, I'm not surprised he'd say that. He wants money. And it makes sense. He'd like to add, you know, another room to his house. And so he basically has to say whatever Disney tells him to say. Otherwise he won't get any money. Okay, let's activate that. That's the thing. Creators and stuff like that are people too, and they like money. They like a lot of money. And I'm sure that Disney probably threatened him with like, hey, if you don't say what we want you to say, it'd be a real shame if you didn't get paid royalties. Terminator movie set in the future like T1 or 2. No army of Skelelots. Is the audience... Han, yeah, Han is the cool guy. Oh man, Death Troopers. The zombie stormtroopers. Although, it's a whole virus though. I got that book when it came out, and I thought it was alright. I wasn't really that into it. But it still is a pretty good book. Like, it honestly reads like it should be in 40K or something, because like Han is in that book. He gets broken out of jail, and like he hides in this like Imperial shuttle. And what ends up happening is while he's in that shuttle, he talks to one of those Imperials, and one of the Imperials is like, yeah, we kind of had to eat like half the crew to not die of starvation. That was just like one of the creepier things I've ever read. And that's me being a 40K fan. And yes, we have actual puzzles. This is some really good music here too. Like, the guys behind this have done an excellent job. Alright, let's blow that. Yep, A-10 Warthogs, you gotta love them. And I liked Sam Worthington in that movie. I liked it a lot. It's kind of sad now, but back in the old days, damn it. Back in those old days, okay, we gotta get up there. Actually, maybe we don't. Oh yeah, now I remember how that puzzle goes. Yeah, back in the old days, in the midst of history, I remember saying that I liked Terminator Salvation more than that Star Trek reboot. Because back in 2009, I liked the Star Trek reboot. I thought it was pretty alright. I thought it was 100% okay. I mean, little did we know what that would cause, but hey, you know, it was a more innocent time in those days. Now, of course, being a Terminator fan, I knew that like humanity really shouldn't have the military force that it had, but whatever. I just kind of let that go. Okay, let's open up that. The shack size T-1600s. I guess you could say that like Skynet, that was the smallest platform it could create, maybe. Let's go. Jump! Damn it. Basically, what you got to do is you have to jump from these server racks to that little thing sticking out there so you can lower a platform to get some... Okay, here we go. We'll just jump on here. Get a bomb. A bomb? Damn it. It bombed at the box office. I've never played that Terminator Salvation game, although I heard it was 100% adequate. It's inspired by the then popular Gears of War. Damn it. Goddamn platforming. It's still not that hard, though. And thankfully, this is not a game that gives you a bunch of, okay, and jump! There we go. Doesn't give you a bunch of lit up crap. And then we activate the elevator. Now that I think of it, I'm not sure we needed to even do that. Okay, why do we need to do that? Oh yeah, so we can put the bomb and then do the thing and the thing and the thing and all the rest. Terminator Salvation arcade game. Yeah, I played that. It wasn't bad. It's just a basic light gun game. It's one of those things where I'd like to be able to emulate that so I can actually get somewhere in that. I think they use the same arcade hardware to make the current Aliens arcade game. I actually recorded some footage of that when I was on vacation last year, but I just haven't done anything with it yet. Okay, so I think we just climb up there like so. Same situation, old showrunner came back and all the fans were celebrating. Yeah, think again. Anytime an old showrunner shows up, that does not mean they're going to be on your side, unfortunately. Okay, well, fine, don't it? Oh, it's this one, okay. And we gotta get it on there. You know, Don, you really need a lift. That doesn't look that heavy. I mean, come on, how heavy could that be? Like, do you lift, bro? Okay, activate that. No, activate it. Yeah, Doctor Who. I feel very bad for the Doctor Who fans. Apparently Doctor Who hasn't been very good for the last 5 or 6 years. It's like, first time? I never was a big fan of Doctor Who. I mean, I just couldn't get into it. I didn't really care about the character of the Doctor himself. I know his name's not Doctor Who, but I could totally just do that just to be an asshole. Yeah, I didn't really care for that Doctor Who guy. I mean, but it just never really appealed. Alright, and that should allow us to get the other explosive barrels. This is a basic puzzle, but I'm glad it's here. It doesn't go on over long, it doesn't use moon logic, it's... God damn it! Predator Badlands. We'll see. We will see. I mean, Prey was apparently okay. I've seen some scenes from it. I know that it has the strong independent whammons, but the scene where the Predator in that movie just picks up this bear and like rips it apart, that looked pretty kick-ass, I'm not gonna lie. And just drenches himself in the blood. I might have to watch that at some point. I might have to force myself to sit through that just to get the full context of that scene. It's like, with the Predator, if you're going to sequelize that, you need to have a Predator be a character at some point. I mean, they knew that even back in 1989 with AVP. You have to have... The Predator needs to talk to somebody, because it can't stay a snarly monster forever. Because then it gets kind of old after a while. The difference between a Predator and a Xenomorph is just the fact that Xenomorph is unintelligent, whereas the Predator is... And so, theoretically, it should be able to communicate at some point. Come on, shoot him! But then I guess it has social anxiety disorder. Or doesn't like the fact that Sonic's arms are blue. Slave Zero? No, I have not. I've never actually played Slave Zero. That's a game I've not gotten around to yet. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of that wokiness to it. That's the thing, though. You got to be able to... One of the sad parts when it comes to a lot of these talking heads is everything's woke to them, and sometimes they get it wrong. It's one of those things where not everything is woke, but there can just be plain bad writing. That's the problem with this not having a cutscene. I can't stop and get some water. So AVP 2 and No One Lives Forever 2, I think, uses the Lithtech engine, and I am not really sure why they're in legal limbo. I think it has something to do with 20th Century Fox, but 20th Century Fox doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. But I really couldn't tell you. I used to know, but I haven't thought about it in a long time. But I think it was 20th Century Fox that was behind that, maybe. But don't quote me on that. And right now, I think Disney doesn't care, I guess. So, yeah, Quake's getting a lot of good total conversions. I actually got a review coming out for Slayer's Testaments, which is a total conversion for Quake. And what it does is it turns Quake into a much better version of the modern Doom games. I was quite impressed by it. Smacky, smacky. This is a lot easier this time around. Okay, I think this is where the game starts to get a little difficult. Yeah, we got drones. We got drones, people. The drones want you dead. Are they part of the woke conspiracy? Yes, yes they are. If AVP 2 ever got remastered, that would sell. It sold pretty good back in the early 2000s. It'd sell even more now. It's because unless you're a computer nerd, you can't really play it. I remember in the old AVP2 jewel case, there was an ad for Falcon gaming PCs. It's like an awesome time capsule for what a gaming PC looked like in 2001. Fallen Aces was good. Fear the Green Horn still gotta be bumbling. Never heard of Fallen Aces. Monolith is owned by WB and AVP. That could be it. Yeah, because like if you're not a PC guy, that's the problem with PC exclusives, I will admit. That's one thing I have had to learn over the last ever, because if it's stuck on the PC, console people won't play it, and unless you had a PC that could run it back in 2001, you were kind of out of luck. Sadly, AVP 1 and 2 were never on a console. I mean, there was a homebrew console port for the Xbox for AVP 1, but the only AVP game that was ever on a console was AVP 2010, which is the worst game in... God damn it! Which is the worst game in that franchise. Not saying that it's a bad game, but it's just not as good. Off its chair of death! Yeah, to be able to play AVP 2, you have to be a little, shall we say, creative. But it's there, it's just a Google search away. Oh, it really is just it'll take like 2 seconds to find it. Oh yeah, AVP Jaguar, I forgot about that game. Oh crap, no! Okay, we need to pick up, we can only pull the toolbox, but I need to throw something. There we go. This is why this girl can eat like three hamburgers like it was nothing. She works out. Dude, that was my first game for the Xbox 360. Yeah, I got AVP 2010 when it came out. I was kind of depressed about it. Just wasn't quite as good. Okay, so to get AVP 2 working, it pretty much works out of the box, so to speak. Like, you don't have to really mess with anything to get it to work, on Windows 10 at least. But if you want to get it with a modern day screen resolution, you have to download the no server patch and a few other things like that. I need to do a video on that. I think I'll actually include that in the remake review of that game later this year. And they kind of did an adaptation of the Predator AVP comics. Kind of. What ended up happening is the craptastic AVP movie in 2004 was more or less an adaptation, kind of. Okay, all we've got is hair triggers will work. Now see, Mr. Docs, that is a really good idea that sadly will likely never be made. It's like, I'd rather watch that than Romulus. I know I'm gonna force myself to watch Romulus at some point, but it's just scared people on a ship. How many times have we seen that? If anything, Alien Romulus looks like any number of, you know, low-budget cable TV movies from like the early 2000s / late 90s. Just with less likelihood of titties. Let's see. Predator fighting pirates, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, you'll see that the copy pasta, as they call it, about like, what if the Predator fought a samurai? There's already a book or a short story about that by Larry Correa, no less. Would take place in different environments like a desert or a blizzard. Yeah, there's so many ways you could make the Predator be entertaining, but it's just not gonna happen. Good writers are hard to find. Okay, we got the yellow key. Let's go in the right way. It's the original idea for Predator 3 was you had Dutch fighting in a arena against different predators. And like, do that. You know, like, have some, you could even have it be sort of like cyberpunky, where like some humans killed like a high-ranking predator, and the humans that killed the high-ranking predator get kidnapped and taken to like an arena to fight for their lives or something. It's like, the sky's the limit with that franchise, but no, nobody really wants to do anything with it. It's just the way it's gonna be, sadly. I think Predator 1 is far superior to Predator 2, but over the years, my opinion of Predator 2 has changed. Originally, I loved it, but then I hated it like everybody else when the internet said you had to hate it. And I hate those goddamn spider bots. But now that I have my own opinion again, I like Predator 2 again. The sad part is, I think the reason why people hated Predator 2, now that I think of it, is probably because that was the last Predator movie we had from 92 to 2010. So it's like, that's the last one? But when you've got Predator 2 and then Predators, you know, it's like, it's not so bad with that. Because really, all Predator 2 really is, it's just a, one of those police procedural movies, but with the Predator in it. And sadly, we got Bill Paxton getting killed by a Predator, and a Xenomorph, and a Terminator. He just can't catch a break, no matter what universe he's in. Oh, goddammit, not the grenade! I meant to do that. So evidently there's a Aliens What If written by Paul Reiser. Or like, what if Carter Burke survived? I've not read it because I just like, that's the best you got? That's the best what if you have? Yeah, it could be. Or it could be, Screamers. Screamers with Peter Weller is a great late-night cable TV movie. Watched the crap out of that back when I was but a youth. Screamers is basically like imagine Terminator but on an alien planet, and the Terminators can burrow underground and mimic people's voices and all kinds of crap like that. It was really good. It was one of those movies that I'd never heard of but randomly saw it on TV and became an instant fan of. Goddammit, grenade spam! Crime, you mean like LA today? I wonder, okay, was LA in that movie better or worse than it is today? That is the question. Actually reminds me, there is something I've seen in a number of locations, and I'm not sure it's true. I get the feeling this is a hoax. But apparently in Los Angeles, they have to get, they're getting rid of, like, I think U-turn signs because apparently that's offensive to a certain group of people. That just sounds so fake. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just get the feeling that, like, that's something somebody made up and is being used as, like, news. Oh, I know which movie you're talking about. But, I can't remember what it is now. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I was gonna do a video on that ages ago, but never got around to it. But the name escapes me. Yeah, crime is kind of legal in some of these places. Because they won't let criminals get arrested. It's like, you steal stuff from a store, it doesn't matter unless it's adds up to $900. That's not a crime, apparently. To Danny Glover's inclusion makes a good choice. Let's see. Killed by the Terminator. When I saw him get taken away. There's actually a fanfic. The first fanfic I ever read was of Hudson surviving and escaping on some random shuttle. Weirdly enough, like 20 years later. So like Dawn here will not eat the canned food. She will not eat the soup. She'll pick it up, but she won't eat it. She'll drink the purple stuff. Nope, there is nothing in there. But yeah, weirdly enough, in 20 years after I read that fanfic, that kind of became canon that there was a secret shuttle on LV-426, Hadley's Hope. Yeah, it's kind of sad we lost Bill Paxton. We lost him pretty young, too. I think he was only like 60. Or maybe early 60s. I think the last movie he was in was Edge of Tomorrow. That movie came out 10 years ago. Now that was one of those movies that I did not expect to be as good as it was. If you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, it's one of the few good movies with that short guy. What the hell is his name? Tom Cruise, that's his name. He's not completely insufferable in it. And, you know, you got people in mech suits fighting kind of amorphous aliens, but, you know, it was fun. It's kind of like Groundhog Day, except, more shit gets blown up. Sugar, water, and purple, and you don't want to know where that purple came from, that's for sure. Yeesh. It's just liquid cancer. I mean, yeah, liquid cancer. I mean, who wants to live forever, right? Just drink it. See, like, in the Aliens novelization, they actually had to go the extra mile and kind of explain that, well, you know, Ripley, yeah, she's smoking a cigarette, but it doesn't have any carcinogens in it. It's like, I didn't really need that explanation, but okay. I can accept that, like, future space cigarettes aren't going to kill you, mostly. Okay, what are we trying to do here? Screamer movies. Yeah, the second variety. You know, I got a book of short stories once that had that story in it. And I was like, wait a minute, this sounds awfully familiar. And then come to find out that Screamers was based on a short story randomly. Warwick Davis? No. Somebody even shorter than that. You know, like, Warwick Davis is like a giant compared to Tom Cruise. Let's see. NYC, where shoplifting is rampant, where everything is either locked up or going out of business. Yep, that is a thing. There it is. Propane and propane accessories. Butane's a bastard gas. Huh, I thought that would have blown that up. Yeah, well. I'm actually going to be using some propane and propane accessories soon to make some barbecued ribs. Not today, because it's like almost 10 o'clock, but... No, it's only 8:30, but whatever. It's gonna be hot tomorrow, that's for sure, though. Yeah, there's a lot of random crime crap going on. It's just, it's all crazy. It's always kind of hilarious to hear, like, politicians say, like, I just can't believe people are so afraid of crime in, like, one of the most crime-ridden cities in America. It's like, uh-huh. Why would they not be? Donk. Get away from me, spider bots! Get away from me! Nobody likes you. Spider cells. Power tools and Home Depot. Ugh. Thankfully, we don't have anything quite that bad happening here. Where I live, people are kind of sane, mostly, sometimes. Sometimes. At least it's not as bad as Austin. Engineers their own story and have references to the other alien species. Yeah, that'd be good. Man, the engineers, that's a wasted opportunity. It's like, they're all dead. Why? Because one android apparently was that powerful. Uh-huh. Could it be that you people had no idea of what you were going to try to do? New Jersey, never did that before. Yeah, Austin, Texas is pretty shat these days. And look at that. That looks pretty good. Remember, this is the GZ Doom engine. An engine originally created to run Doom. They went from that to this. Oh my. Not gonna be having that kind of fun. Had to have the closed and theft-proof containers. Yeah, there's always gonna be a bunch of criminals. That is part of the human condition, I suppose. There's always gonna be assholes that refuse to work and pay for things. So, like, I have not needed a weapon part yet. The basic rifle works. And I think that's why this election is going to be really interesting, because you can basically take a look at, like, Bidet there and say that he's responsible for it all, but he really isn't. Bidet and people like him really aren't responsible for all the insanity. It's all the little people, the little local politicians, that are really responsible for a lot of that insane crap. And they never really get as much scrutiny as they should. And that's one of the big problems. Even if you get Bidet out, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of funny business going on when it comes to this year's election. At the end of the day, even if you get him out, there's still going to be a bunch of crappy people still in, and I don't know what's going to happen. From what I've heard, is actually recovering. Now, isn't that crazy? It's like, you know, things are bad when Detroit's getting back to some semblance of normal. It's one of those crazy things to think that, like, Detroit was one of the largest manufacturing centers in the world, if not the largest. And then life happened, and well, it became a massive slum. But then again, that kind of will happen around anywhere. Like, even here, there's areas that were once really good that became slumland. Things wax and wane and all the rest. It's just one of those. Okay, I think we're okay. We're not going to get blown up. Oh, we need a remote detonator. Oh, there it is. Boom! This is a really kick-ass game. I do recommend Selaco if you want to get a good and really entertaining boomer shooter that's more than just shoot. It's more than just a shooter. It's a lifestyle. Blast up. What's your favorite machine gun? Ooh, great minds think alike. If I was gonna get me a belt fed, it would be an MG42. The old buzzsaw. I don't know how I'd ever be able to afford. I guess if you can afford to buy it, you can afford to feed it. It's kind of like if you can afford to buy like a fancy car, you can afford the gas. Honestly, I would buy an MG42 before I would ever buy a fancy car, though. Because, yeah. My second favorite of the machine guns is, of course, the classic Thompson submachine gun. I know people like to hate on it, but man, if I was going to spend that kind of money, I'd buy that. Third favorite, of course, is the PPSH-41. I'm not sure I would buy that, though, because that's like stamped sheet metal crap, whereas the Thompson submachine gun, at least you're getting good quality there. It's like the most over-engineered thing ever. I'd pay that. I'd pay a ridiculous amount of money for that. And it's based on faulty scientific principles. Blast him. P90. That's a good choice. I always wanted a PS90, but just never got around to getting it. Didn't want to have another bullet I had to stock. Created other aliens like the Predators. Well, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. In one of the comics, there's sort of the implication that the engineers did create the Predators, but sadly the comic that showed up in was terrible. Ever since Prometheus, pretty much all the modern day alien plots have like the synthetics going nuts. They focus a bit too much on that. Corpus Christi? I have no idea. I haven't been there since 2017. And even then I was only there for like a couple days to go to the Lexington. I would imagine it's probably either much the same as every place else or maybe a little better since it's kind of a sleepy city. I don't think there's too many people moving there versus all the people moving here or the DFW area. Come on, people, just move to Florida. Ruin them. Leave us alone. It's too hot. I'm hoping that like a lot of these people that have moved here will all move back. It's like, it's too hot outside. It's like, yep, it's like this all the time. Like, just move back to California. I mean, who wants to live in Texas? Texas is terrible. That is a... Well, the M2 Browning was originally supposed to be an anti-tank machine gun. Because it's a World War I design, if I'm not mistaken. And so by the time it got into full production, its stated purpose was kind of irrelevant. But it was good for, you know, anti-aircraft. And, well, if you really, really needed to take somebody out, it worked. Lexington 3 times. Nice. I need to go back there one day. It's like, yeah, you know, like, people just need to go back to their states. You know, I mean, no, we don't. Texas is full. We're full. We don't need any more traffic. We need no more traffic than we already have. Yeah, later this year, I'm going to be taking a trip out to the National Video Game Museum. It's in Fresno, Texas. I've never been there before myself. You got all kinds of rare consoles. I think they've got a N64 DD, Double D. Oh yeah. Along with a few other things. And looks like it's going to be a pretty neat tour. They even have an arcade set up there, a giant-sized Pong console. Probably going to go sometime in September or something like that. Just have to see. And yes, I'm going to record a little bit there. But I'm also just going on a vacation too, so I'm probably not going to make a full video on that. Because I kind of just want to chill, because 2024 has not been the best year. It hasn't been that god-awful, but it still has been kind of rough trying to... God damn it! Getting shot by zombies. Ugh. Ugh. Gotta get curvature of the spine, as my grandfather once said. NFTs! I have no idea who that Psychophobia broke me. I have no idea what that is. It's probably some sort of modern reference I'm missing. I know there's a reference to the classic Angry Video Game Nerd. He actually wrote a book where he did not do a very good job of selling himself. Basically, the AVGN, or James Rolfe is his real name, made himself out to look kind of like an asshole back when he was in college. He basically trashed his dorm room, got expelled from college, because for some ungodly reason, he trashed his own dorm room. Do you know what? Like, going to an actual physical college is very expensive. Why on earth would you trash your dorm room? But anyway, he trashed his dorm room, got expelled, and then, like, instead of being like, I have learned my lesson. No. He blamed, like, the dean. Like, It's like, how dare he let me go? How dare he kick me out? It's like, came off as very immature. It's like, why would you smash up your own? Oh, there he is! It's the AVGN. This game is most assuredly not ass. But still, though, smashing up your own dorm room, costing your family who knows how much money, and you feel like you're the victim? So, yeah. Not sure. Maybe he grew up in the intervening, you know, like 30 years, but still, though. I kind of lowered my opinion of him just a little bit. No, run! Shit, there we go. Try not to blow myself up again. Try not to blow myself. Oh my. The purple ape is Bonsai Buddy. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I saw that video too. I had not remember. I just didn't recognize it. Yeah, the AVGN, that was like the earliest web content I ever watched. Back in 2000 and I think 6 or so. I had internet so slow, I couldn't actually watch the videos. What I would do is when I would go to college, and I didn't destroy my, actually I didn't even go to a dorm room, but when I would go to college at night after work, I would download with their much faster internet all the AVGN videos that were out and just bring them home with me. That's how slow my internet was back then. But it worked. That was the much more innocent days of the internet. No politics, just juvenile humor about video games. And we're in a million videos like, the LJN wants you dead. I actually wonder, like, let's say things were normal. Would people like Yellow Flash be able to make a living without all the endless outrage? And to an extent, now the Amazing Atheist, I never actually watched his content just because I never found him to be that interesting to watch. He was, he kind of came off as a bit obnoxious. For me, it was the AVGN, it was Spoonie especially. And sadly, Spoonie's dog died. I was kind of sad about that because, yeah, whenever a pet decides to shuffle off the mortal coil, that's always a bit depressing. That's why I'm not much of a pet guy. Humans passing on is bad enough. Although I don't mind if fucking spiders get blasted. Nice reflexes, bro. I don't know what that is either. I assume that's some kind of like esports thing. What is the most bloody action movie I've ever seen? I don't know. Critical Drinker is still... Okay, Critical Drinker gets like millions upon millions of views, but I find his takes to be just kind of surface level kind of stuff. Like, stuff we used to see the Nostalgia Critic used to talk about, you know, it just didn't... None of these new people really resonate with me all that much. Come to find out the Critical Drinker doesn't actually drink! It was a lie, man! Rebranding, but I suck at making names. Yeah, whatever. It's not a bad name. Yeah, a lot of these people have gone woke. But that's the thing to think about, though. That's how politics kind of used to work back in the old days, is that, like, you could have somebody like the Amazing Atheist, and he could appeal to people that weren't, you know, necessarily what today we would refer to as woke. He would appeal to a lot of people. But now, unless you're... Now, I guess you could say everything is so-called right-wing, even though it's not. Things have just become much more tribalized, which I could see coming back then. I knew it was happening before it was cool. Nobody listened. They just ignored me, man. They called me mad. But in all seriousness, though, that's the sad part about politics. It's the most violent or bloody action movie I've ever seen. Ooh, I gotta think about that. I can't think of a classic one at the moment. Rambo. There we go. The John Rambo, or Rambo 4, when he opens up with that 50 cal and just like shreds like all of those I don't know, was he in Thailand or something? It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but man, like that's what a 50 caliber would do to a human being. Like it would just utterly annihilate somebody. The most recent like really bloody action movie I've seen is Shin Kamen Rider, where the main character is literally so strong he just beats people to death with like one punch. He just turns people into guts. It was really good, actually. And funny enough, I didn't know that existed until I watched a parody video of the AVGN where they used an AI to have him review the movie. That is the best use of AI. Yeah. I was so screwed. But yeah, I think it was Rambo 4, or John Rambo as it was originally going to be called. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have not seen that movie in nigh on 20 years, so I don't remember much about it. I remember being really creepy, though. Okay, we want to do that, and we want to go... There we go. We'll just kite him out here. That's the problem with him, like... At least they called Rocky Balboa instead of just Rocky. It's not a reboot. Alright, I think... What time is it? 9 o'clock? Okay, we'll keep going for a little while longer. For a little while. Although my brain is starting to be tired. Yeah, I'm much more of an action movie guy than I am a horror movie guy. I'll tell you one thing that's kind of weird, though. Is, every female I've ever dated has always been a big fan of horror. And it was just something I was thinking about. I guess, like, as a guy, I like to see, like, you know, combat. You know, like, you got a guy with an axe smashing up an orc or something. Whereas a female kind of wants to be scared, I guess. And so you got, like, Dracula and all that, you know. It's just one of those weird observations I've had over the years. But females love horror. Strangest thing. Oh, crap, no! It really does need to switch to the next available weapon. That'd make things a lot easier. Okay, this is starting to get bullshit. Run! God damn it. Okay, we're gonna get through this part. Ugh. Assuming my hands don't fall off. Okay, so this is... One of the other reasons why I love this game is that there's no goddamn arenas. Okay, let's do that. Set it up there. That should get a pretty good firing arc. Save there. I don't know what this does, but we're gonna do it anyway. Save again. I blew myself up again. I blew myself again? Yeah, so that turret does a pretty good job of keeping those bastards back. But I think instead of just running out there like a... Okay, let's shut that window. Let's just hide. Those counters go, man. I'm gonna actually pay attention for a second. Okay, good. That's in the firing arc. Not the grenade again! So, provided I don't blow myself up, we may be able to finish this part of the game. Now, apparently the enemies can actually see if you have your flashlight on. which is something that hasn't been done since the old Fear days. Because I want to know why they all have purple blood. YouTube keeps censoring me. Yeah, YouTube is weird like that. I don't know, because like, I've turned off all the censorship I can on the chat, so I don't know. I do not know. This platform is kind of annoying. And by kind of annoying, I mean really annoying. But this is like the only game in town. Oh, you bastard. You bastard. Alright, do I have any ammo and anything? Yeah, I got like 22. But yeah, like, the thing about like a violent action movie is you've got to be careful though. You don't want to have too much blood and gore, because then it kind of makes you get desensitized to it and kind of takes some of the fun out of it. Because I remember Commando. Commando is an over-the-top violent action movie, but there's not that much blood in it. Commando is, to date, my favorite action movie of all time. It's got the best lines. Arnold Schwarzenegger is at the top of his game. You know, like, Bennett is a classic villain. And I'm really quite fond of Bennett. I mean, he is very much like a video game boss. And just the lines are perfect. Everyone, I told you I'd kill you last. I lied. I ate green berets for breakfast, and I'm very hungry. It's the cheesiest, greatest shit ever. No, it keeps changing back to top chat. Let me fix that. There we go. Haha. Let's see. Conan the Barbarian is a really good movie. I saw that ages ago and have it on Blu-ray. It's much more intelligent than you'd think. It's not just bashing everything with a sword. The music is really good. The music's done by the same guy who did the RoboCop score. And it practically tells some of the story in and of itself. And I actually met at a con back about in 2013. I met the woman, Valeria, played by Sandahl Bergman. She aged really, really well. Let's just leave it at that. A gilf indeed. Let's see, where's that? Yeah, Commando video game would be pretty good. I mean, such a thing is not impossible. I mean, you get the same guys who did Terminator Resistance and RoboCop Rogue City. They'd make a kick-ass game, that's for sure. Alright. Descend to street level. I'm actually starting to catch up to where I was recording. Selaco's Bluest River, eh? Video about Mark Hamill making an anti-gun tweet with overblown statistics about gun deaths. You gotta remember, Mark Hamill, all your favorite actors all live in the same bubble and echo chamber. I think Harrison Ford's not quite that bad. But you gotta remember, they're all coming from pretty much the same place. And a lot of times they are going to either just get the same information all those other crazies get, or they're just gonna mouth it so they can stay as part of that society. You gotta remember, these actors are not the characters. They're their own people, and they're gonna have a lot of reasons for saying a lot of stupid crap. It's either going to be ignorance, or they want that sweet, sweet money, or the opportunity to earn that sweet, sweet money. It's just the way it is, you know. And that's once again, that's kind of a sad aspect of politics today, is I did meet a couple of my heroes. And back in 2013, Tim Russ was a cool guy, but then Tim Russ is also anti-gun as well, but back then he wasn't, and I had a lot of fun talking to him. It's just one of those things. I got to meet Christopher Lloyd. I mentioned that in the last stream, but I'll mention it again because it was so cool. I didn't actually talk to him though, so I don't have to know if he's secretly a jerk or not. As far as I'm concerned, he's a cool dude. And that's that. I'm not gonna hear nothing to besmirch the good name of Christopher Lloyd. Well, when I say they're their own people, that also means they could be controlled by others as well, or let themselves be controlled so they can have an opportunity for more money. I mean, those $1 million houses, they ain't free. That's the sad thing about, or that is the bad thing, let's say, about Hollywood, is that many of them have to mouth the platitudes that they're told to mouth, otherwise they're not going to get jobs. And if you have devoted your whole life to becoming a Hollywood superstar, you have to ask yourself, do I make a Twitter post that's stupid, or do I give up on my career? And many of them will basically take the position that, well, my career is more important than what some idiot on the internet thinks, and, well, they say what they gotta say. Carrie Fisher accusing Harrison Ford of forcing himself on her. I mean, I'm not surprised she would say that, and it could have happened. It could have. I doubt it, but then again, I don't know Harrison Ford personally. It's one of those things, like, could she be telling the truth or not? The whole believe all women thing really caused a lot more problems than I think they thought they were solving, because it's like, okay, when some of these things turn out to be false, well, who can you believe? And so here's the thing. Could that have happened? Maybe. Or could she be making it up for clout? Also maybe. Unless any concrete evidence comes out, I'm just going to say, I'm going to keep an open mind. Let's say that. I do know that Carrie and Harrison got up to some cocaine proclivities back in the day. So, one can only wonder. One can only wonder. I am sure that they engaged in some fun activities. Okay, I'm getting shot by everything. Okay, just come on, just slide. The thing is, those Star Wars actors are not nearly as bad as some others, so. But they're their own people. They're gonna do what they want to do. Just enjoy the characters and don't worry about the actors, I guess. Unless it's Christopher Lloyd. Just leave Christopher Lloyd alone. Damn it. I always love it when games, like when you get killed, you can hear the enemies like, well, we killed him. Or her in this case. Now what? I think somebody's making popcorn. I want some popcorn. I'm gonna have to eat that after the stream. I realize the media does not respect the dead. Oh yeah, they did that, and you should see what they said about my dude, Sean Connery. They said all kinds of bad stuff about him, and then when Stan Lee died, they said stuff about him, and most of the time that stuff just isn't true. But whatever. It's Twitter clout. That was some slowdown. Save. Yeah, I'm not surprised they went after the Queen. I don't really care too much about the Queen of England. I got some silver with her face on it, but that's as much as I know about the Queen. Exactly. And I'm sure that... Actually, they did try to cancel Vic Magana, or how the fuck you pronounce his name. They tried to kick Vic. I actually met Vic Magana in real life at a con a couple years ago, and he was a really, really nice guy. I quite liked him. But I think he's been able to resurrect his career recently. Okay, we want to charge back here. Blast him! The guy from Friends. I never watched Friends, so I do know that one of the actors died at some point, but I am not sure what actually happened to him. Because Friends is a TV show that totally was not something I was interested in. Same way with, like, Full House. Like, when that show came on back in the 90s, I immediately flipped the TV to Channel 3 and played some Super Nintendo. Holy crap, what blasted me? Oh, they can fly now. Ugh. Hey, don't shoot me. I'm trying to drink water here. It's not my fault you don't have any cutscenes. Guy's got a plasma rifle. Where's my shotgun? Family Matters would be something that, had I known it existed at the time, and believe it or not, I really didn't. I knew who Steve Urkel was, but I didn't know what show he was on. Damn it! Back in the 90s, my favorite of the sitcoms, and the only one I could stand, was Home Improvement with Tim Allen. That was the least of the cringy ones. But for me, I was always a big fan of the Seinfelds. God damn it. Saved by the Bell. Yeah, see, back in the old days, I was as much like I am today. If it's not science fiction or fantasy... Oh, you bastard! You bastard! What is with the... He's gonna blow... This is a really well-designed game, but that pisses me off. This really pisses me off. There should have been a Duke Nukem TV series. Can you imagine an awesomely cheesy 90s Duke TV series? Okay, so that guy is really dangerous. Galaxy Quest is free? Nice. That is an awesome movie. I fucking love that. It's actually funny because it's able to kind of mock some of the Star Trek stuff while also playing it straight. By Grabthar's hammer! What a savings! Alright, we gotta keep him from flying in here. I think there's two of the guys with the plasma and the... There he is. Boom! It's not that much of a danger state. Jordan had 3 seasons of Sliders. Was that show any good? No, not really. It wasn't the worst, but if you go past season 2, it gets pretty garbage. Basically what happened is they didn't know what kind of show they were trying to make, and so it kind of just meanders from plot line to plot line. The first season is pretty okay, but after season 2 it gets bad because they lose John Rhys Davies. He just got unceremoniously canned. And once you lose that guy, yeah, it's kind of like, that's when the end was near. There were a few good episodes, but by and large, it was a series that had no point to it. And that was the big problem with it, is they didn't know what they wanted. Did they want it to just be, you know, a serialized show? Did they want it to have like a story arc? And so it just kind of went all around. Let's see here. And the Red Green Show. I never heard of that. Yeah, I saw that Perfect Dark trailer. I think, didn't they turn like Joanna Dark into more, shall we say, less feminine? John Rhys Davies or Brian Blessed? Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. I think John Rhys Davies is a better actor than Brian Blessed, and I think he's been in a few better movies than Brian Blessed as well. So I'd probably choose John Rhys Davies. One of the weirder roles that John Rhys Davies took not a couple years ago, like 10 years ago now that I think of it, was where he was a elf king in a MTV produced Sword of Shannara adaptation. It was the weirdest thing, but he was the elf king. I didn't really picture him as an elf, but he's been a dwarf before. Oh crap. really outside of like the King of the Hawkmen, I don't really know what Brian Blessed's really been in. Oh, I'm all the way back here. Oh, good God. I needed to actually save. I know that a lot of those talking head YouTubers are going to be eating good because the new Joanna Dark is a little less feminine, or a lot less feminine. There's going to be a million videos on that. Okay, there's one bastard out there. There's going to be another guy with a jetpack that's going to fly around here. Now that's a channel that definitely went downhill a long time ago. MTV, the music television. Well, once it was all about music, then it became reality shows. I still don't see the appeal of the reality show. Like, it's all fake bullshit, and it's the most annoying bullshit imaginable. No, I do not play Star Wars, The Old Republic online at all. I mean, I got it when it came out, and I thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever, and then it wasn't. And yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Hot women exist, and we need to see more of them. And that's going to really, see, that would actually really help the loneliness epidemic. But yeah, Star Wars The Old Republic, I tried to get into it, but I hate MMOs. Like, I just cannot get into that kind of gameplay, that grindy bullshit. And so, yeah, I played it when it came out and tried to enjoy it, but it was grindy bullshit, and I ended up just kind of giving up on it. Okay, do we want to go here? Yes. There's enemies. Star Wars Galaxies. I did not play that when it was new. I kind of want to play that just to get the experience of playing it. But no, I never played that. I never had the provision to play it. And I don't think I would have liked it compared to, say, something like, no, you bastard. You have a grenade for once. And I didn't blow myself up with it. Nah, fuck it. Yeah, I probably should have saved. I shouldn't be that far behind. No, I'm not. Okay, we're gonna go to street level and then we'll call it a day. Okay, first 250 space bucks for that tiny bit of ammo? I mean, seriously, does AAC not exist in this world? Oh yeah, if any of y'all are looking for steel-cased ammo, Palmetto State Armory makes that now. Apparently it's really good too. It's not even that horribly expensive. So, modern manufacturing, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful. And I walked right... Oh, come on, seriously. They're not even here yet. I get why they want to do it, but still. I love this shotgun. Look at that. Just paints the goddamn walls. It's beautiful. I need to make a top 13 list of movies that really outshone the decade they were in, like Fifth Element. And hello, Triple X Medic. That's definitely... I've never been called that before, but thank you. Okay, dual wield. Okay, can we do a little bit? No, we don't have that yet. Yeah, Nickelodeon. Oh man, talking about Nickelodeon GAC. Oh my. There was a documentary talking about some improprieties at the Nickelodeon studios. But Fifth Element, that's the movie I was thinking of. That is a movie that really completely outshines the decade it's in. Like, that's one of the best movies of the 90s, in my opinion. You got, like, a whole new science fiction universe. You got Bruce Willis basically being Duke Nukem. Fucking love that movie. Lightsaber, I would have a double-bladed one that would... long sword length. That'd be pretty neat. Yeah, lightsabers. Or once they were like this ultimate weapon, now You can stab somebody in the chest and they'll be A-okay. I mean, you know, you'll see people like that Arc Warhammer guy or some of the other types like that. And they'll be like, well, like if you hit somebody with a lightsaber, they would explode. It's like, well, we don't need to go that far, but at least let it be lethal if you get stabbed with one. That's one of those issues where, like, a lot of these talking heads take stuff a little too far. It's like, I don't care if it's not realistic, it just needs to be a little more realistic, you know? You should not be able to survive getting stabbed in the chest with anything. I mean, in real life, sometimes you could survive, I guess, getting stabbed in the chest with a sword in real life, but it's not a common occurrence. Darksaber, not bad either. Oh my. Dan Schneider. I was thinking of Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider is one of those actors that is really annoying, but I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of funny in Judge Dredd. Kind of. And I can understand why he was in that Judge Dredd movie. He was gonna provide some levity, you know. And he was kind of funny in that Deuce Bigalow movie, but really... Actually, here's something. I would say that Rob Schneider is less annoying than Adam Sandler. Of that type of humor, I think he's the least annoying of the two. But that's not really saying much, I think. Okay, now where the hell is the yellow door? Okay, how long are we going? Okay, we're going for about 2 hours. I'm gonna call it a day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to get curvature of the spine. Next week, we're gonna come back where lightsabers are dangerous again. Next week, we're gonna take a look at Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Until then, I am General Lotz, and I'm gonna wish you good Fifth Element and good Deuce Bigalow, American Gigolo, or whatever makes you happy.